Thank you, and I hope you won't take this off my clock, but it's Vellenga. It's Vellenga, I'm telling you. Good afternoon. My dad never met a multi-purpose tool he didn't just love. Every year, some ingenious manufacturer comes out with the latest gee-whiz, mini TV, knife, compass, and Dad's just gotta have it. At the holidays, the extended family assembles, and he'll walk in like a cat with its latest mouse, holding it aloft and declare proudly, "This is the answer." And then, with a twinkle in his eye, he'll say, "Now, what was the question?" What is the question? So often, we fail to ask the right questions, to examine the fundamental systemic challenges, to look past the things we take for granted, and in our case, challenges of society that have gone on for years and years and years. In 2008, the year of a presidential election, Minnesota led the nation in voter turnout. We're very proud of that. 78%. But one precinct in Minnesota led the state in the lowest voter turnout in the state, and that was 16%. So in that precinct, 84% of the people who were eligible to vote did not vote. 84%. That's unacceptable. Sandra Day O'Connor and David Souter, retired Supreme Court justices, have come to a similar conclusion. They saw a national study that found that 2/3 of American adults did not understand that we have three major branches of government, didn't understand how the government worked. They call it a crisis. It's a crisis of civic education. It is a crisis, and it's an urgent crisis, and it's a profound crisis. It's not just about civic education, though. It's not enough for us to take some kids and put them in a government class in high school or a civics class. It has to be much more than that. Folks talk about huge untapped domestic reserves of energy. I'll give you some huge untapped domestic reserves of energy. All the folks who not only are not voting, but they're not talking over the fence with their neighbor. They're not volunteering. They're not pitching in. They're not a part of their community. They're not involved in community. They're not involved in politics. They're not involved in government. This, too, is unacceptable. The fictional Jerry Maguire said, "You complete me." Right? But in our Constitution, we begin by saying, "We, the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union." We, the people, in 2011, let's face it, is incomplete. Not all of us are part of we, the people. We're not participating. We're not there. And it's not the fault of the people who don't show up to vote. Many of them have grown up in families where there's no participation. They've never been exposed to civic education. They've never been invited in a truly respectful way. And so, like Jerry Maguire, I would say to you, you, and you, and you, and they, and we complete, we the people. We complete we. We've got to work on completing the project of America, the unfinished business that was set out in the Constitution. At Heartland Democracy, we've taken this on. We've tried to figure out a way to build a robust empowerment program. And we concluded we can't invite people into our space. We can't just simply provide a curriculum. We've got to go to folks where they are. We've got to visit them in their houses of worship, in their houses, in their schools, in their institutions, in their rec centers, in their clubs, you name it. Wherever three or more are gathered, let's go. And we've learned some lessons. We've tested this with high school kids. We've tested this with different kinds of folks in different kinds of places. But there are some common features that we've learned. I want to share some lessons learned because my point here today is that all of you can do this. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you can do this. It's not rocket science. It's actually old school, old-fashioned, American, original politics, the best politics. Civil, respectful, old-fashioned chats across the back fence, for example. And so what have we learned? First, unlike me today, no lecturing. You've got to approach your participants, the folks you're working with, respectfully and ask them the series of questions that they and only they can answer on their terms. They have to figure out their own politics, their values, the issues they care about, what they want to work on, right? Second, it's useful to everyone. All of us need to do this constantly. Think about what your values are and then question yourself. Now rank your values. What issues do you care about? Now let's see how your values compare to your issues of concern. That's interesting. Where do we go with that? Third, make it real. Lift the veil on the system, which is so often shielded from vast parts of our democracy by arcane jargon. You have to go to graduate school to understand most articles in the newspaper about politics and government. Let's face it. So make it real. Who are your representatives, unelected and elected? How does the system work? What's the role and the responsibility of the business sector, the nonprofit sector, houses of worship, schools, other educational institutions, etc.? Now let's go meet them. Look, they're willing to meet with you. They want to listen. They're interested in you. These are the kinds of experiences that many Americans do not have on a regular basis. And this is empowering. Next, network. As you build your community, you need to build your network. If you've got an idea, something you want to change, as our speaker this morning said, the 16-year-old young woman who talked about bullying, she's building a network. So you build your network and you go to work, alone or with others, and look what you accomplish. Show the examples of what others have done, right? And always, throughout the entire program, draw bright, bold arrows from the decision makers, the powers that be, to the person in the room. How do their policies and decisions affect you in your daily life? Look at your street, your sidewalk, your boulevard, your farm, your ranch, your roads, etc. Make it tangible and concrete so that it's real for them and they experience it. We tested it with a high school group. These are kids who know the travails of hardship. These are kids, some of whom have had a difficult time in life through no fault of their own. And we asked them before, during, and after the session what they were learning, what was new to them. Delisa spoke for many when she said that they learned things they didn't really know about, things they didn't learn anywhere else. It was new to them. It was entirely new to them. And so we finished the program by saying, okay, you pick one issue that you really care about that's specific to your area, and we will help you find the organizations working on that issue, and you're going to sign up with them. Just a little bit of time, or a little bit of ingenuity, or a little bit of networking, what have you, you're going to get engaged with them. And that's how the learning is sustained and how they stay involved long after we pick up and go away. Right? But guess what? We thought we were living in the world of civics. You know, the civic sphere. This is about democracy. We're doing good work for democracy. We didn't think about the fact that our participants were building networks. They were establishing new peers. And guess what happened? They conducted better job searches. They got great ideas about how to stabilize and secure their family's wealth. There was a financial component to this. And so now we have new partners who understand this. We have an adult job training program that targets the folks who have the greatest difficulty finding jobs. We have a partnership with juvenile ex-offender program. We have a partnership with high school student internship program that helps kids who wouldn't have these opportunities otherwise. In each case, the host partner organizations and our participants have said to us, look, this is not just about civics or democracy or government or politics. This is about my whole life, my career. I'm building great new networks of people. And our partners and our participants, and we have come to understand that the basis of this is the respect that comes from peers who treat our participants in a civil fashion. Sophistication and knowledge about the system, assurance, they've acquired emotional security, and with all of this comes dignity. And that's what we all crave. We crave the dignity and the respect that comes from our peers when we are working together to accomplish something. Matthew Lee is a sociologist who won the National Science Foundation Award for scholars who, early in their careers, did a great job of combining their research with education. And he studied violent crime in rural areas, looking at indicators to see what moved it up and down. And guess what he found? As civic engagement grows, violent crime drops. As civic engagement grows, employment grows. People have better health care, people have better educational goals, and so forth. It's a virtuous cycle. We've forgotten about the fundamental, profound, and virtuous effect of involving ourselves in community with others. This is where democracy meets the economy, at the roots, in the person of one human being. We don't walk around with different hats. Now I have my democracy hat on. Now I'm going to do my job and earn money. These are two different worlds. We are all one human being, and in us, we practice or don't practice good democracy and good financial security. This is where democracy meets the economy. We've got to do a better job of helping folks get involved in community, not only to help the community and to help the democracy, but also to help them help the economy and vice versa. Another student is Toby. 8 months after our high school class ended, we called Toby up, and he had a lot to say, but we hadn't talked to him for 8 months. This is just a little bit of what Toby had to say. He was very enthusiastic. This thing changed him. He was transformed by 4 sessions of 2 hours apiece. And when we talked to him 8 months later, he could not wait to do his next community project. It was transformative. It's transformative for him. He named the fear of things that he didn't know. That's the personal transformation that can happen when we go beyond the textbook civic education and actually work respectfully as colleagues to transform folks who are outside the system, who've been ignored by the system. And so that is our answer. That's our tool. And look, it's a multi-purpose tool. It's not just about democracy, it's about the economy. Participation, respect, working together with others to achieve a common goal. These are the social reinforcements we all crave and desire. And we are biologically designed this way. We've evolved as social beings. Why do we evolve that way? Because when we work together, we accomplish more, right? But we've forgotten that in large parts of our society. Involvement in community, then, is one of the greatest sources of motivation, of meaning, and of personal fulfillment. What more do you want? You complete we. We can complete the phrase, we the people. Help our democracy and thereby help our economy. Help our democracy and thereby help the economy. Thank you very much.